and African resources or materials through research collaborations. Um, what I'm going to do today is not go deep into the materials and research and resources themselves, because those who have been covered nicely by the former speakers. And based on the background that Dr. Afolayan has given us, it means this is a well thought through series that look at different angles. So for me, there is nothing seriously scientific today, though I'll be showing some scientific result as well, which is bias of me. Um, I will try my best to have a discussion with you. So that's why I'm probably going to make it short and make sure that we have a series of discussion on the topics. So my name is Nifafa Dumont. I'm proud alumnus of African University of Science and Technology. I do say that a lot. Also of the University of Ghana. And I think that is where my journey began from. Of course, not forgetting all the elementary education that I had. So if you look at today's topic, it's very, very interesting in a way that I can find two ways of dividing it: investment in skills for better education and research with Africa. And then the second part, that will be the African resources or materials through research collaboration. Now, all the things that I'm going to be talking about today revolve around this one topic or one theme, or whichever way you want to call it, a theme that has been divided into two topics, right? And the first question will be, how can you do this? How can we have this discussion? And I found three ways that I want to share with you. And this is just also one-sided because I've not asked for your opinion. So the first one will be for the personal and individual effort. So I will show some personal and individual efforts that can drive investment in skills, and then resources through collaboration. Also a team effort. So individual effort can translate also to a team effort. And I will try and explain that as well, or touch on that. And then there can also be institution-based effort, and these are much more powerful. All of them are equally important, but if you have a whole institution backing you, just like David, my good friend David, has mentioned now through the partners, then you have a strong and a solid background or stepping stone to jump from or to fly from. So I hope I'm able to convince you that all these three have made me also what I am today, what I continue to be. And of course, I'll start with myself with the journey. And this is not a repetition, but it's just to show you how all of these three things have played a role in my journey so far. So I'm from Ghana, and we pride ourselves with Kente very much. And if you can ask me, I will let you know later why I have Kente on this slide. I did my Bachelor of Physics at the University of Ghana, who have just celebrated 75 years of existence with this beautiful logo that they have outdoor. And that celebration will be crowned this year, but I started last year, 2023. Maybe they're already crowning. There I did physics, and I combined physics with soccer, what the US would call soccer, but we call it football. And there's a reason for that as well. So I hope that people on this platform will keep those in mind and ask why I will have to highlight football on the platform today. From there, I moved to Nigeria, to African University of Science and Technology. There's a whole story between Ghana and Nigeria as well, because the question will be, why will you go to Nigeria? A lot of people ask me that question. Why will you leave Ghana and go to Nigeria? And for some of you who have been in that institution, you probably know the reason why, one of the reasons. But yeah, I got a free scholarship, $50,000. It's not easy to get on an African continent. So, and I'm going to study physics, which is one of my favorite courses or program. So why not? And then from there, after that, those two solid background, I didn't wait. Just when I arrived at AUST, I start looking forward. So this is where investment comes in. So this is a personal and individual investment that have taken me through all of these places so far. But you can also think, you can also see indirectly that there is an institutional investment. So the University of Ghana invested in me, for example. AUST invested in me. So this is how those things are intertwined. And then when I was an AUST, I didn't work alone. I was part of a cohort. And that is where the team effort comes in. So all of those goes into investment. One way or the other, I invested in somebody else invested in me, a team invested in me, institution invested in me. And it's a continuous cycle. And if you know how, at an individual level, you can leverage and kind of fuel those cycles or cycle, you only will go forward. It doesn't mean that there won't be challenges, but yeah, you only go forward. So from AUST, I moved to the Netherlands. It's a small country. Most of you maybe have not heard about it. In the past, it's called Holland. And people don't know how powerful that country is in education. So I found myself in Groningen. And to be honest, before even going there, I've never heard about Groningen before and what they are capable of offering me. So, and these opportunities, I only say the only time I pay is at the University of Ghana, which was my bachelor studies. From there on, everything is on scholarship. So Groningen, I did my master's in nanoscience. Some people will not relate to that, so I do call it applied physics as well. And after that, I came back to Ghana, stayed 2 years, and went back for my PhD in nanoscience, because naturally, when you have a master in the program there, your PhD in the program, though the PhD is not coined under any other program. So my research has been mostly on organic, so the things that my good friend David mentioned, organic semiconductors, and that was the beginning. And from there, I grew on to embrace hybrid material as well, which is perovskite these days. And Cyril, I think I see Cyril in the group, and that's what he's working on today in my lab. And in the Netherlands, I had the opportunity to travel a lot, make new connections. So investment, you have to be strategic about it. And from there, I was fortunate to move to Canada. In Quebec, Canada is a federal state, so divided into different provinces. So if you allow me, I'll pick my so this Quebec, somewhere here is Ontario, a lot of them. So I live in Quebec, which is funny because that's the only French speaking part of Canada. And I work at the Institut National de la Recherche Scientifique. That was for a year at the height of COVID, so you can imagine what it was. And then from there, I was fortunate to move to US, first in Colorado, where I work at the National Renewable Lab. And also there is a story about that. So these are all personal investment and also team effort, one way or the other. So throughout the journey, you can see that. So that's very, very important. And the two topics are reflected here because also there is a research collaboration going on every time I move around this. And I'm gonna highlight those few in a moment. And from there, the last place where I am now is not there. That's my current place. And you can see that I've not highlighted that, which is Pennsylvania State University in Pennsylvania, as the name indicates. So throughout all this journey, I've gathered a lot of skills. So this is where we jump to skills. And I thought there is no better way to show those skill sets by my research output, right? So these skills are gathered in this area. So this is the research output. Mostly my efforts are in energy transition, a very, very important topic as of today for the planet. If you know about the climate change issues that we're having and the net zero target of 2050. And my efforts are mostly on material that have properties that can be tuned. So mostly we try to make them at low cost. And I said I will not go too much into details. But the nice thing about these materials that you can, especially for photovoltaic applications, you can make them semi-transparent so they can be integrated in platforms just such as environmentally friendly buildings. And then they can work in different areas of science, for example, in indoor environment and outdoor environment. So you can see the picture. I think I need to leave my laser on. this side of the picture that is talking about all the gadgets that we use as humans, and that outside this outdoor environment, they also find application in health areas, tracking your heart conditions. These are used by devices that incorporate these materials inside. Can also be used for aesthetics, very nicely designed windows that can also power your buildings, and you can see how people can play with different shapes here, things that we can recognize. And then also on different platforms like our QLED TVs, watches, and the rest. So I will not waste time. And here mostly we are talking about organics and perovskite. These are materials. So our work, my research so far have been material focused. So that also touches one of the things that David spoke about, which are minerals and materials. So this encapsulates my journey so far, the skill set that I have, and these are not all, but a few of the research output that have been out there that I've contributed to so far. I need to update this. This already published about a year, more than a year ago, right? So I'm going to switch here. I'll come back here in terms of the research and show you how collaborative efforts are important for what we want to achieve on the African continent. And I believe that we just don't want to achieve great things. We also want to be recognized. And one way you can be recognized is being seen in your field as advancing those fields. And how do you advance the field? In the type of work I do. So I'm using myself as an example, is do research, get results, be able to convince the scientific community that those results are valid, for them to accept it to be published, and then maybe have patents. And I will highlight a few, not just me, but other examples. Now, starting from the individual level, and this is very important, I wanted to highlight that mini edge energy, which is a personal efforts, individual effort that I've started and sold on to my spouse, and then we are driving that now. Our efforts are mostly in education, leadership, energy, and research. So mostly connected to the things that we are discussing today. And this is a company that we launched in Ghana, and that basically want to discuss issues of leadership. And there's a reason for that. And I would love to have a discussion around this if somebody has a question. And then look at education from a different angle as well. I provided a website for you to go and read more about it. Also look at science. So in science in general, and I'm biased towards energy because that's where I work. So we put it as energy, and then finally research, which is one of the topics of today. So in a nutshell, we're talking about LEER, L-E-E-R. And right away we thought, what can we do as busy as we are? What can we start with that can have an impact? So we look at the first two, right? Leadership and education. How can we combine that and invest into people? And then also recognize skills, nurture those skills to move forward and advance the dream of African or every African child. And as I'm speaking today, this is still happening, and there is a new development that I'm happy to. I'm not sure if I'm going to share that, but I mean it's something that I think is important to look at as well. So looking at the Leadership Center, we started a mentorship program which is called the Mini Edge Energy Mentorship Program, DEMT. Now I want to share the footprint of that. That now became, so from an individual personalized effort for investment in skills and collaboration, we now went beyond that to have a collaboration with 40 mentors. And these mentors are distributed all over the world. But since we are talking about Africa, the footprints are in basically 12 countries. So these African young professionals are recruited or networked from 12 different countries in Africa. But of course, in the whole world, they have a footprint around 18 locations around the globe. Now, this is almost half a year old now. That dynamics will change, right? So the position around the globe can change, but since we are based in Africa, that's 12. It has changed. They are from those countries, but around the world they move a lot. And then the mentees themselves, we have at the beginning, and this was very interesting to see, but of course we have to do retrospective, came from we have 80 mentees who came from 6 different countries on Africa. So this is an African program. We didn't limit to Ghana, even though we were from Ghana. So that's the idea, and the type of passion we have and personalized investment in skills. And details of this can be discussed. And I hope people have questions about this, because I don't want to dwell too much on this. And this just to give you the demographics of both the mentors and the mentees, and how we are also prioritizing skills across board in science, and also across boys and girls, or male and female. For the mentees, our dream that we wanted to have a lot of mentees, but we could only achieve 25%, which is a good number. If you look at some big institutions like Carnegie Mellon, Africa, I'm giving this example. In Rwanda, Kigali, the pride were having 27% of their population being female. So we are not far from that. For the mentors, we've done a bit better. The target was to be 50-50, but we have 60-40 females. So that is also very passionate. Investment in skill across board is very, very important, not just pushing male-dominated areas, but also having our females participating in that. And then you can see the demographics of the levels of the mentees that we have so far, and we have worked on. And what's the output? Individual investment that turned into a team effort. We now have candidates who are from that background. I say this clearly: we cannot claim that we have been the ones who have achieved this alone, but we've contributed in having people at Georgia Tech, McMaster University, Oxford, and participating in that, and all of that, University of Groningen as well. And really here, I want to highlight how an individual effort can turn into a team effort, right? So this is a dream started by myself and my spouse, Dr. Asuo, but now we have been able to delegate the activities, because then we need democracy and transparency to this board. We are part of the board, but we don't have voting rights. So you can see that's why we don't have flags here. Those who have flags have voting rights. This is just a joke. But we have 2 more people from Ghana who are part of the board. We have people, our lovely friend from Botswana, Nigeria, sorry, and Tanzania. So this is an effort for investment in skills, and all of these guys are also very much involved in research. So it's not just in skills here. You can see how the skills and research and collaboration are intertwined in this slide. So from there, I'll jump ship, and I will now talk about the Dumola Research with Africa. Very, very important in terms of collaboration. I'll highlight just a few ones. And this, I intentionally populate these slides just to give you the scope and the dynamics of what I've been involved so far as a researcher, and how investment in skills has brought me to this level, and how those investment in skills can be translated into the resources that we can make available through collaboration. So here you can recognize a few institutions across the globe. I don't yet have any Asian institution here, but you can see institutions from the US, WPI, EASU there. You can see AUSC, of course, very good tie with AUSC. Nile University, I didn't have a personal tie to it, but the person I work with has an affiliation with Nile University, also in Nigeria. Moi University in Kenya, so I'm highlighting most of the African ones. University of Ghana, of course, my oldest alma mater at the tertiary level. And also we have Junior here in France, but the person I collaborated there comes from Togo, originally from Togo. People from Cameroon, Nigeria, Hope College. We recently have a strong collaboration with a colleague of mine from Hope College who is of a Nigerian origin. And this is very passionate to me, because if you ask how this collaboration came about, which we can have a discussion about, will interest you. So here I'm highlighting my good friend, Dr. Asare. You can see all the names that are in bold in here. You can recognize some of them. These are old members of the AUSC clan. I call them. Sunny is not old. He's new now. Of course, he has also graduated and moved on. IJ24. So I'm talking about Asare and I were colleagues. Oyewole and Asare and myself were colleagues. Sani and IJ24 came after us at the university, at the AUSC. And then Ernest Egede is Dr. Asare's student. So you can see how teamwork can also build in investment in talent. He did his bachelor with him at the University of Ghana, and this work was really an interesting turn of event, and I call it a strong collaboration between University of Ghana and AUST. And that got published in Energies in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So this is Ghana and Nigeria at the forefront. Second thing I want to highlight is a recent work that we did here at the very first work that we published at Pennsylvania State University, which is a collaboration that started before I moved here. And you can also see names like Cyril, it's also an alumnus of AUST, Daniel, I think it's on the platform, Dairu. You can see all the names. And all of these are African researchers, right? Except Nicole Dumit, who is French, I think, but the rest are all African researchers. And this is where collaboration becomes very, very important in pushing the type of work we want to do. And here we talk mostly about material toxicity, and here we are talking basically copper oxide. So Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Kenya, on this work alone. That was published in Advanced Energy Sustainable Research with an impact factor of 5.7, if I'm not mistaken. I would like to highlight a few ones. This is already published sometime this year. I think it's in October, so no more in press. Also highlighted as a special issue afterwards, and the authors, the editors wrote to us to ask permission for that, which is a good thing. This is a collaboration between myself and Dr. Nkunu, who is a Togolese now based in France. Just to tell you how important it is to harness. So all of these people I'm talking about have been, somebody has invested in them, an institution has invested in, a team has invested in them, and they find themselves in these positions. How do we harness that? How do we come together and produce and also show that African has the capability using our resources across board? So not just when I say Africa now, it's talking about the continent and the diaspora. So you can see this clearly. I already spoke about Hope College. This is going on. We are working on perovskite, which is the hottest, one of the hottest materials in the optoelectronic field for light emitting LEDs. This is something that is done in Canada, and then here you see Algeria, Senegal, Cameroon, Ethiopia, and Ghana coming together. All those names highlighted in bold are the people coming that I've worked with that come from this background. And this work has actually been patented. It's a work driven by my spouse when she was at Canada doing her PhD, patented and have solid protocols that can be transferred from lab to lab, which is also a good thing. And this skill set is very, very important because this work can be done in ambient, and the type of material I work with are done in controlled environments. So you need global that can cost close to $50,000 to $100,000. And we are trying to find ways that we can do part of those work in ambient, which means that this can be easily transferred on the continent or to other places where resources are scanty. And then we are open in terms of collaboration to different groups. And then here we have Cyril, who joined the opportunity for Cyril to join the group as a PhD student. We also had Pascal, who visited from Ghana. Of course, it's not always, I'm talking about all of these as a very nice and sweet story, but they all come with their challenges. And I need to mention that just to let you know that it's not all rosy.
Hello, sir.
Now what? Yes.
Yes, yeah, I sent a message to you twice. Is it possible you can have this presentation, just a single presentation? Is actually sharing is sharing that with the next slide and the main slide. Is it possible we have just a single, yeah, so that we can have a better
I'm not okay, then let me reshare.
Yeah, very good now.
Is this showing us this? No.
Yeah, not yet. Put it on the PowerPoint, your presentation.
Yeah, so I'll stop sharing. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that's what was happening. Let me do that again. Maybe the way I shared. Stop sharing. And then I shared again. Thank you for that. Oh, no, this is not what I want. Let me see if this works.
Yeah, you can just put it on PowerPoint now, presentation. So
very much. Okay.
Is it okay now?
you have to put it on presentation mode, sir.
Yeah, it's on presentation mode at my end.
Yeah, it's still showing the
side.
Yeah, probably you
I
can
think
just
where
Okay.
you take the laser pointer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Why I took the laser pointer? Let me see. I'm gonna do this again.
Yeah, so are you able to put it on PowerPoint now? I mean, just on presentation mode.
I'm gonna do that. Try and see.
Yeah, so down here where the laser pointer is, there are some screens there. You can try to click any of those. It would change to show where the screen you're sharing. Oh, back. And then where you have these three dots.
Yeah.
I think screen. Let me see
Yeah,
something.
it should be okay now.
No, not yet. Oh. It's blank now. So
It's blank now.
okay, yeah, this is fine. This is fine now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then the response is slow because I can see it from my end.
Yeah, it was a response. So you do it again, and then I think it should be fine.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is okay now.
Okay, so I have to go to the slide. I'm almost getting to, yeah. Let me know if it's still showing okay now. Yeah, it should be okay now. Sorry for that. What can we do? And here I call it university level because my institutions are mostly universities and research institutions anyway. So my focus will be on Penn State and some of the things that are happening. So at Penn State, one of the things that happened recently was a recruitment of faculties that have passion for Africa. And I'm highlighting this program because then we could push for collaborations, right? So here is a Penn State minority serving institutions, and the minority serving institutions are dominated by mostly researchers and students from it's difficult for me to explain, but I don't know why they have that system in the United States, but because of the history of the United States, if you know about segregation and co, for people who have background like the Blacks, Americans, Blacks from different denominations. So that kind of demographics, Hispanic. So some institutions are just dominated by those demographics. So therefore, the effort of Penn State is to bridge the gap between what we call the high-level R1 institutions and some of these MSIs. And this is being driven by people who have passion for the development of the field in general, and also investing, empowering, and doing collaboration across board irrespective of your skin, race, background. And this is the reason why I'm highlighting this effort. And this has been going on for about a year now. And then you can see some of the topics that we've discussed revolve around renewable energy, the materials that are very important for that, what kind of innovation, applied research innovation, technology advancement linked to energy harvesting and conversion and storage, for example. So this is one of the efforts that this investment in skills in general and so on. Now, you realize that Dr. Afolayan or my good friend David mentioned ICEDA, which is defined, I will define another time soon. There is a huge collaboration that we started that we hope could yield some fruit. And this is where I say that when you have institution backing this kind of effort becomes very, very interesting. So we're talking about Material Characterization Lab and African collaboration. What we did is to reach out, to use our network to reach out to researchers in Africa and find out what are the demographics, what do they work on, would they be interested in using equipment that are available at Penn State, even though those are expensive, even though we don't know yet how we're gonna sponsor those kind of measurement, right? So we got these responses. These are the demographic 45 respondents from different broad research areas, as you can see them, from biology, chemistry, physics, from different countries. We have not done the demographics of countries here, but what we are interested in at what level of their career they are. And you can bear with me that this ties into today's topic. So some people are in early career, a few of them, mid-career, established, and others that you can see. And these are something that is currently going on in terms of investment and collaboration for the researchers. And now, like I said, Alliance for Education, Science, Engineering, Design with Africa, I said, has its mission of uniting. This is what I want to really, I need to read this for people to unite communities, ignite young minds, and craft inclusive solution for a brighter tomorrow. How do we do that? There's Penn State faculty and students, they join their forces with partners across Africa and the African diaspora, which is very, very important. This is where we're talking about the resources being shared or being harnessed, not shared yet, harnessed, and find a way of sharing those resources, having the discussion, the discourse, and being able to help and having a transformative journey. So hand in hand or side by side, I would say. So here you see some Penn State faculty, Ismail Adabo, myself, Dr. Asu, giving presentation, and other people who are, you can even say University of Ghana here, and other people who are involved in this effort for this too. So if you need more, you can read about ICEDA online. And then another collaboration is what we want to achieve with this kind of collaboration. We want to have capacity building, mentorship program, which some of us are doing individually already, but if it counts a team effort, that would be very great. These are the ideas that we want to achieve. That doesn't mean it's already happening. So that's why today's talk becomes very, very important. And some of you have strong links on the continent, can reach out and make this happen. So, right. So we want to have scholars and student exchange. All of these boil down on money. So therefore, the next thing is 6 scholarship for students, which is not easy if you live in this part of the world. And the possible recruitment of this connection that we'll have of students into Penn State PhD programs and workshops and seminars. And one of them that we are doing, which is the ICEDA Indaba, which are bringing on different people. We had the Vice Director of the Mineral Resources at the African Union talk to us on that platform. So this is how high we are going and how low we can go also across the spectrum, having everybody play a role into that. And we already signed some MOUs, which I want to highlight. With the University of Ghana is almost done. That's between ICEDA, Moi University is continuing. MINTEC is just, I got updates about last weekend that is being drafted at the final stages, and that's going to be done. So this is how we want to operate. MOUs are very important for a common understanding of how people want to invest in skills, in resources, and collaborate together. And here I want to highlight a few. I think I'm like my 2 or 3 slides to the end now. It's very important to highlight these stories because when you look at what is happening now, things are beginning to take off. You see, these stories of social inequities or equity in natural and nature-based solutions. These are the things that we are involving. People go into the communities, their activism, their resilience. So how do we do restoration of our lost lands, right? So we have mining going on to find the minerals. We have, when you talk about minerals across board, gold, copper, you know that the war of the energy area is on, and Africa is going to be at the crossroad or the crossfire of that. We have oil that have devastated a lot of countries already, not to talk about Niger Delta. And I think David will know better about those stories. But the effort is that this recruitment that has done recently. So these are new faculties at Penn State, right? We say Africa, but it's not just Africa. People in general will have to be interested in Africa. So Mark Ortiz we're talking about climate justice, which will be very important for Africa. Yunji is into atmospheric physics, how will I call it? Trying to understand weather patterns and modeling them. And Ida is more into on the ground, goes to Namibia and other countries to really understand what is going in the communities and restoration. And I highlight Ida in particular because recently she has won almost with another team of researchers, $1.3 million for NSF fund. That is not just going to work at Penn State, but allow her to go to those areas, communities or researchers that collaborators that she established on the continent to do that. How is this possible? It's because somebody invested in Ida, and Ida invested in herself and has gone on that journey for years and have collaborators. And now the funding that she's getting could be used in those areas. And there's also heavy recruitment in the science field that brought Olumide, Tandazile, and Nelson to Penn State. And especially Olumide and Tandazile have now connected us with Mintech, which is a big tank mineral, institution in South Africa. They just returned from South Africa recently with the Mintech at 90, where there is a memorandum of understanding on how to get student trained, exchange of postdocs, how Penn State and Mintech, who has had years, so they have celebrated their 90 years of existence in South Africa, working in the mineral field, how that collaboration can be brought ahead. And I would like to highlight also Ismail Adabo, who just unfortunately left Penn State, but this is a Penn State product, ISEDA product, who is now at Carnegie Mellon Africa in Rwanda, Kigali. And here, when we talk about Rwanda, there is only one figure that comes to mind. That's the president himself on the campus. And he started just this July, where he's going to develop the new program for graduate students, I think mostly masters, that is computational material science on the continent. So there's somebody who has invested in himself, somebody invested in him. And if you know the journey about Ismail Adabo, please go and read about it. This is somebody who has gone to Cornell, MIT, and now with Carnegie Mellon, working with Africa, who set up this program for the next generation of computational material scientists and engineers. If you have not yet heard of this and you have people who will be interested in this opportunity, direct them to Carnegie Mellon Africa for them to be part of the first cohort or all of the product that will come from there. So this is how we give back. This is how the collaboration goes on and goes on. Now, if we don't do this ourselves, what will happen? And this I'm talking about this slide has it's two-edged sword, right? Consortium will be open. So this one of them, T-Sunrise is mostly based in the UK, but they have some funding to now help Africa, or in general, remote area, not just Africa, but you can see Africa, Asia, and Indo-Pacific area, to be self-sufficient, to afford solar photovoltaics, to be manufactured locally. So if you don't do it, other people will do it. And I'll be speaking in January at this. They have their symposium, which I was invited to, myself and Ivy. So this is how, when you start having collaboration or you build yourself, you get recognized, people call you on programs, and you begin to build, you continuously build your network for the good of Africa. So I've joined the network. I'll be invited to join the network, and we'll be speaking here, and I'll get to learn more. Maybe in the future, we can revisit this topic. And also other things will happen. This is in spring 2024. I was invited to talk about enhancing material science through research collaboration between Africa and non-African institutions. It's because AUSC has given me the opportunity to study there. University of Ghana has given me an opportunity, and I continue with the work that I do without taking out the passion that I have for Africa. That's why I can be invited to just and talk about, and this is where I am talking on this event, which got published recently in Springer Material MRS Bulletin. And also Haile Sosina, Professor Haile Sosina, that maybe most of you may have known, was also a speaker on that platform, which I'm trying to highlight. She also has another platform called Juami, where they rotate in African countries to have this summer school where they have to train high-level skills in photovoltaics and optoelectronic devices. Now, last thing I want to highlight is the UNESCO chairs, MATEX International. So that has two umbrellas. They have the International Organization for Chemical Science in Development that holds series of events on MATEX. MATEX stands for Materials for Energy Conversion, Storage, and Saving and Storage. And that also has scholarships. So we have UNESCO chair in Canada that has scholarship that only brings in highly qualified students from third world. They call it third world. So Dr. Asuo was on this scholarship. And if you don't know about it, go and read more about that. So this just to tell you, if we don't do it ourselves, people are out there doing it and they have the resources. So we will be lagging behind. And the danger with that is that if they develop the technology through collaboration, you don't expect them to necessarily have your interest at heart, right? So resources that we have may have been harnessed and shipped away. And this is not, I'm not just talking out of vacuum. Most of our resources have been shipped away anyway. So you don't want that to happen to energy, especially solar as well. And to conclude, I'm hopeful that I've been able to convince you to have a discussion on how we can collaboratively work with different institutions across board, whether on the continent or here, even abroad, with people in the diaspora working in those institutions. Very, very, very important. Institution-wise, a team can become very important in pushing the agenda. And then also at the individual space, you can also influence people one way or the other to invest in themselves, or also help them to invest your time and your resources in them, and so that the chain can continue. Otherwise, we will always be lagging behind. And thank you for your attention. I hope.
Wow. This is, for me, this is really explosive. And I tell you, for me, I want to see, for me, this is African Rising. Probably we have had African Rising before. I would say this is maybe the second or the third African Rising. And I tell you, it is either you watch things happen, or you are part of those that make things happen, or you are part of those that sustain what has been made to happen. The fact remains that if you choose to stay at your comfort zone, there are people who will keep making this happen. And there must be somebody who will watch things happen. And I think for me, this is really a great challenge to join the African Rising, do what you can do for Africa anyhow. With the limited resources that you have, do all you can. And I tell you, the more we do this individually, the more we see ourselves to collaborate with and form very forceful and formidable, network to drive this through. Thank you so much. Who I call a very good brother. They have been very, very accommodating here. They are my hosts, at the Penn State. And I must tell you, when I approached him and I said, please, I want you to talk on this.
End the program. I've been interacting with some of
please, can you try to, can you unmute, can you please? Yeah, thank you. So, and when I told him about this, and I said, I would like you to have you talk. And when he told me, oh, me and my wife, we have this kind of foundation and this is what we are doing, I was really amazed. And I said to myself, I think I got the right person to talk on this. And I tell you, this is really, for me, this is very encouraging. This is also I took it as a challenge, to push more, with the little that I'm doing currently. We also have here today, just like I had mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, that just to mention again that this webinar series, has been on board since September this year, and this is an initiative that we're going to have every month. And I also did say that about 3 of the group putting this together, they're based at AUST, of course, under the umbrella of the School of Engineering, which we also have a dean here today. I also mentioned to you that we also do this, with the support of, some very key, groups, which I also mentioned, the Afri-Materials and Ores, Consult Limited, who have been our research and financial partner. Also, of course, the big ones that are also having our back, which is the Regional Scholarship Innovation Fund. And I did mention to you, RSIF also have, at their back, the people like the World Bank, government of South Korea, and of course, the Carnegie Foundation as well. I also mentioned to you that we also have our sponsor of this webinar series, the Pennsylvania State University, and of course, we are actually a research collaborator. And of course, the Worcester Polytechnic Institute, where I'm currently the research scholar at the moment. They are the biggest host here at the United States. And I want to thank them for all that they've done. They are also, supporting this kind of initiative in giving back to Africa. And I've also mentioned that, the closest, sponsor of this event has been the Africa, University of Science and Technology, who has been, supporting, and they have kept supporting us. But just to, I wouldn't know, though, we couldn't listen to our president speak at the beginning of this conversation. I don't know if he is around, but I think I could see the dean, School of Engineering, sometimes now. I wouldn't know whether he's still there. But before then, I would like to ask, we also have today the representative of the Regional Scholarship Innovation Fund. Yeah, I've been trying to invite them, letting them know that I'm doing this, I'm doing this all for you, and I'm excited that, Dr. Evelyn Guku is here today. I would like to have some few comments, and I must say, all what guest speaker had mentioned today is just what PASET is also doing. So I'm excited that we have this kind of conversation, and also she's here. Dr. Evelyn, can we have a few comments from you, please?
In the interest of the people who have invested in us before Dr. comes in, I see a name here, and if I don't do this and this meeting closed, that'll be bad.
Right.
Dr. Alice Felix Hughes is one of the people who invested in me, right? So at the University of Ghana. So if you talk about investment and research and collaboration for the promotion of Africa, these are the people that we need to be recognizing. And it's a long story. He took a chance on me to be his TA when he did not even teach me. He came off sabbatical, and then he was like, well, do you know somebody who can be a TA for me? I was like, I will talk to my friends. As I was working out, he called me back. Can you do it yourself? And I said, yeah, I will do it. You didn't ask me. So, and he has been my strong supporter till now. So I'm happy to see him online today. And that gladdens my heart. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And I know you deliberately never wanted to mention your wife. You mentioned your wife on several occasions. Dr. Ife, I want to comment. I've heard your name, Doctor, had mentioned of what you're doing, and that is really very great support. We really thank you for that. Even though you are not in the scene, the guest speaker is representing both of you. Thank you so much for that. So, Dr. Evelyn, are you able to just to say hi to us? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much, Dr. Afolayan. Always a pleasure to be able to join you in whatever forums that it is. As been mentioned, my name is Evelyn Goko. I am the head of the Integrated Capacity Building Platform at RTCP, and also the Capacity Building Specialist with the Regional Scholarship and Innovation Fund that Dr. Afolayan has mentioned. It's an initiative that is owned by African governments that, really look at growing skills within the asset areas. And Dr. Afolayan has been a recipient of this scholarship. It's a 4-year scholarship. And what is very exciting about this is, apart from just the scholarships, we also look at institutional development. And this is where we look at partnerships between institutions. And this is one of those where we can see Dr. Afolayan has really moved this to the next level, even after completing his studies. Now he's working alongside Penn State and his own home institution in all this collaborative work. And so we do commend you, because this is the dream of the RCIF scholarship, where scholars are enabled to move beyond just the studies. And it's also quite exciting to know that Penn State would also like to collaborate with the institution that is hosting the RCIF scholarship. I know we've had discussions on that. So this can only go bigger. So it is to commend you on what you've already achieved, and we can only see it being able to achieve bigger results and being able to impact on the African continent and be able to elevate the skills of the people within Africa. So, unfortunately, we've not been able to join previously. It's been a busy program for us, but I'm happy to have joined in today. A lot of lessons to learn, and also opportunities of where we can be able to plug in, work together, enhance the activities that are already there and ongoing. So it is a pleasure to have been invited into this. And I know we will be participating actively in future in this. So, congratulations to you, Dr. Afolayan, and your partners. And we wish you all the best as you carry this forward. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I wouldn't know, do we have questions for the guest speaker on how to collaborate? I'm very sure, I wouldn't know whether he has actually shared his email. You can reach out to me. I'm very sure you can. He will allow you to reach out to me. If you need to reach out to him, I can share his email with you. And then he's really, I can tell you, he's really welcoming. And I remember the first day he saw me in his office, he was like, come and see my lab, come and see my lab. And I was, even though I'm not doing anything on energy, but of course I can tell you with that, I really appreciate, that he is really welcoming, so please reach out, and I'm very sure he's willing to collaborate. So in addition to that, do we have any person already? We are already 7 minutes past the time, but we can take questions. If there is anybody questions or comment. Okay, I can't see any hands up, and let me check the chat. Oh, okay. There's no any message on chat. All right. I think, yeah. So okay. I think this is just all for today. Yeah, this is all for today. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. And I would like to mention to you that one of our financial research partner, the AfriMaterials and us, usually have a YouTube channel. So, they always want to have this, webinar on their YouTube, so that, that can give, coverage, a wider coverage to audience. And I'm glad to share with you from the information that I received from the consulting firm. The last webinar series, currently, I think a few days ago, I was informed that currently over 140 viewers. The last webinar series had over 140 viewers, and many of them from Africa, from the United Kingdom, from other parts in Europe, and of course, United States as well. So this is really getting a coverage, and for everyone who also would like to have all these things, communicated to them. Of course, you can also subscribe on their YouTube channel, and then you have all these notifications anytime you miss the meeting. I think that's just the information from their side. Without not much other information, I don't think we have any. Yeah, I couldn't see the Dean of Engineering anymore. We'll have just have him talk to us. Sorry, is Professor Vitalis, are you online, please? Professor Vitalis, are you on the call, please? So that if we can just get a comment from you. Okay. All right. Okay, so on that on that note, I also want to appreciate, I've seen a lot of our PhD students at the Africa Host University. Okay. Hello, do you have a question, please? Okay. All right. So thank you so much, PhD student at AUST. I can see a lot of you. Thanks for joining. We really appreciate the time that you've taken. And of course, I can also see Mr. Siri at Penn State and some other folks who are also able to join. And of course, as well, Chidebere, I can really go ahead and beginning to mention name. Thanks so much also, great senior colleague, Mr. Sarafa, Dr. Sarafa Dey, at Nile University. We really thank you for joining us. And of course, my very partner, at AUST, who is the assistant head of department for mechanical engineering, Dr. Odette. Thanks for joining. I can go ahead and continue to mention name. You are all important. Mr. Kishito, thanks for joining. That's another AUST alumni and also AUST staff. So you are all, we all appreciate you. We are glad that you joined. Mr. Dan and Amunda, thanks for joining. I can keep mentioning him. If I haven't mentioned your name, I have seen you, and I really appreciate you joining the meeting today. And of course, our guest speaker, we really thank you for the time you've taken to join us. For this year, this will be the last webinar series. We want you to enjoy the rest of December. Hopefully, January, we'll be having one of the biggest of the event. And I can tell you, watch out. We are bringing here in January, God's willing, we are bringing here one of the a president of an institution in the United States will be coming to speak to us live here on the Zoom. And I bet you will like to miss it. So watch out. January, we will meet again, and then we'll have our first webinar series for the year 2025. Until then, I would like to say, enjoy the best of this season for those in the United States. Enjoy the best of the Thanksgiving season. And of course, for the rest of people joining us from all over the world, enjoy the best of our season at December. And we will catch up with you in January, God's willing. Thank you, and have the best of this day.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you. Yeah.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.